College basketball is back, and we have a full week of games. We're going to break down the biggest games that you need to watch throughout the week to start your work for the 2026 NBA draft. Next on Lockdown NBA Draft with No Ceilings.
You are Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings, your daily podcast on the future stars of the NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Lockdown NBA Draft with No Ceilings. My name is Tyler Metcalf. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKDOWNNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Joining me, as always, is Tyler Rucker. Rucker, on a scale of 1 to 10, how freaking pumped are you that college basketball is back?
11, easily. I could not be more amped. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time. It's the magical time of the year, and we are fully back. Draft season has begun, Metcalf, officially, so I'm doing great. How about yourself, my man?
Can't wait. I'm so excited that we can be done with high school film. We can be done with exhibitions and get to actual stuff to overreact about. So now when we have early season overreactions, it's like, well, they're real games. Why? What do you mean I can't overreact to this? At least it's not exhibition. Who would do that? But we got a really fun opening week of games, some big time matchups. I remember not all that long ago where the opening couple weeks would kind of be a slog in college basketball, and now all these teams are actually challenging themselves and experiencing solid paydays, but like actually going places and playing legitimate teams early in the season to get a footing and a real sense of where they're at. So we're just going to run through the entire week and just kind of highlight the biggest games every day that you got to keep an eye on and schedule your night or your day around. So starting out with Monday, absolute banger to start. Florida versus Arizona, BYU versus Villanova, also a sneaky, interesting game, but Florida versus Arizona is the big one. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, let's just set the tempo with Florida, Arizona. I mean, defending champs going against the Arizona Wildcats. This is the Hall of Fame series in Nevada, so it's even going to be like a 2-game showcase. But I mean, this is why this year is going to be even more special. Like you said, Metcalf, to kind of start the show. Like we usually take a couple of weeks to finally get to we get a ranked matchup. It feels like it's like a rare commodity when that happens. Now it's just this opening week is just juggernaut matchups all over the place. It's going to be bloodbath. So Florida, Arizona is going to be really fun. It's going to be, the returning champs with a lot of really fascinating prospects. Thomas Houck, Alex Condon. I know we're going to talk about plenty of others with Florida, and then going against some big time freshmen at Arizona with Kobe Pete's going to be the headliner. So I think this game's going to be a kind of almost like a prove it game for Arizona. Because it's like, well, hey, you're going to be tested right away. The defending champs with basically their whole roster, except Walter Clayton Jr., who's got selected by the Jazz, is back. Elijah, my boy Elijah, who also went to the Raptors. So you tell me, how are you feeling?
It's a big time measuring stick game for Arizona in terms of, all right, where are these freshmen really at? Because they're going to have to play a lot of them. And Braden Burries, Koa Pete, Dwayne Aristode, they're three freshmen who should and probably will get a whole bunch of playing time. And they're going up against the reigning national champions who might be better this year and they have, I think, the most dominant and well-rounded and deep front court in the country with Ruben Chinyelu, Alex Condon, Thomas Houck, Micah Hangleton, and then a really dynamic backcourt and two transfers coming in, and Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee, who is one of the most productive point guards in the country at Princeton last year. So I think it's a really, really fun matchup, both on paper and, just schematically. And it's really, really going to test guys a lot on both sides of the ball.
This is a big, no joke test for Arizona. This is a really strong, I'm with you. This is a really strong Florida Gators team. And those transfers, I think, are going to be perfect additions in that backcourt. And Lee and Boogie Flan. You get the feisty Boogie Flan who's quick, violent defensive hands, on ball defender, and some really good shiftiness. And then, like you said, Xavier Lee is no joke coming from Princeton. Like, he is 6'4", can play with serious wiggle, good playmaking vision. So you're adding that to replace Walter Clayton alongside just three jumbo, floor spacers, talented bigs. Like, it's going to be a really fun Florida Gators team. And then, welcome to college basketball. Arizona Wildcats freshman Braden Burries it's going to be a really big, test for him. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a stepping stone game. And I know, like, early in the year, we don't want to overreact, but it's like, no, Burries, scouts going to want to see how ready you are. Can you hold up against two hungry transfers at the Florida Gators who are probably going to pressure him? Yeah, a lot to prove. So it's everything you want to start the year. Obviously, there's probably going to be some rust starting out of the gate, but this is one all scouts, evaluators, basketball fans are circling as like, woof, we get this to start the year. Let's go. I mean, it's going to be fantastic.
Then the other game on Monday, BYU versus Villanova, not necessarily a powerhouse matchup, but a Caden Lewis on Villanova. It'll be interesting to see, all right, how ready is he actually? And then anytime AJ DeBonsta hits the floor for BYU, you're going to have to watch it. On Tuesday, we have Duke versus Texas. That's the big one. That's kind of the big standalone one. Sean Miller coming in first year at Texas, brought over Dalen Swain as well. Big test at a new program, at a big-time program, going against another absolutely loaded Duke team. What are you looking for in this matchup?
I mean, obviously, we're going to be talking about, hey, Cam Boozer, the talented freshman for Duke. But this, as big as we just said, hey, Arizona's got a big test going up against the national champs, it might be about 5 times bigger for Texas. It's just, it's a tough, hey, welcome to the new Sean Miller era. Here's Duke. And Duke's loaded this year. Probably one of my favorite teams they've had in recent years. And it's going to be Dalen Swain for Texas is what I want to see. I want to see who he matches up against. This is as Metcalf said, like, coming over from Xavier, really talented defender. If he could take a step forward with the offensive game this year, I think this is a player you would dream to try to draft and kind of develop him as a rotation plus asset on your roster because of how good the defense is and the size. He's around 6'7", 230, but he's tough. So I want to see what is he doing to start out the game? Or are they kind of going to throw him as like trying to slow down Isaiah Evans? Although I think Evans might run him to death. Yeah. Or are you going to try to put him on Boozer? It's going to be.
I think you'd throw him on Boozer, and
I think so too. Because I think he could mess with Boozer a little bit because he is quick, but he's underrated tough. Like he's 235, but he plays physical.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I would go.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated with Swain just to see what the usage looks like, kind of like you were saying. And I'm not going to be totally hung up on whatever his numbers are to finish the game, but does he look at the rim from outside a little more, or is he just still purely, lowering his head and trying to play bully ball, getting downhill? It's like, if it's just the exact same thing we saw from him at Xavier, then it's going to be a little frustrating and kind of a tough place to start the year. But if he's at least a little more willing of a shooter or getting to a little more dynamic stuff in the mid-range, then it'll be really encouraging and exciting. We know this Duke team's loaded, but they got a lot of youth still, and going up against another big-time Power 5 team, it's going to be a test regardless of when you do it. We will continue previewing the rest of the week right after quick break. Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. You play for the win, not just on game day, every day. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto, all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood Strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Basketball season is officially here, and nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team. That's where Gametime comes in, the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. I love that what you see is what you pay. No hidden fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Okay. Wednesday and Thursday, we get a little bit of a break. I'm on my personal planner. I have catch up on NBA games written down there. Any games on Wednesday or Thursday jump out to you?
No. Give me to Friday. That's pretty much how it is.
Yeah.
Hey, it is a refresher. It's like, hey, we caught up on the games you missed Monday, Tuesday, or NBA. And then, it's kind of like when you're out to dinner, you have the appetizer. It's really delicious. And you're like, okay, wow, that was a lot. Do we get a little bit of a media timeout before the main course? And in this case, it's the same story because we're going to have the main course coming up.
And on Friday, we got some solid games that lead us into a loaded Saturday. We'll get to it. Don't worry. But Friday, Georgetown versus Maryland, Kansas versus UNC, and then a sneaky VCU versus Utah State for the sickos. We take it whatever direction you want with those games.
I think Kansas, North Carolina is going to be like,
yeah,
turn your phones off, clear your schedules, and make sure you're not missing that game. We could be talking about two guys getting picked in the top 5. Darren Peterson, who many think is going to be the number 1 pick going into the year.
Mm-hmm.
Talented guard, off-ball guard from Kansas, whatever you want to say. If you he's a guard. Okay, he's a monster. He's a bad dude on the court. So around 6'6", 205. I think everyone saw his exhibition game where you saw the highlights, and yes, the hype is very real. Then you get Caleb Wilson on the other side of North Carolina, who is 6'10" and just oh my gosh, hold on to your chair when you're watching him in transition. So it's gonna be fun. It's first game of the year, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Dean Smith Center, Chapel Hill. Like let's see what you guys got. Let's see who wants to make some noise. I love it.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated for just like some of the individual matchups in this game too. Like for Darren, I'm assuming they'll put Seth Trimble on him, which I at first glance, you might be like, oh, Darren's going to cook him. But it's like, Seth's an experienced guard. He's a really good defender, really good athlete. If he's able to kind of get up into him and really bother him, it's going to be a really good test to be like, all right, how real and how easy is it going to be for Darren to be that lead primary initiator point guard, if you want to call it that, for Kansas throughout the year and then going into an NBA context. And then when we look at the bigs with Caleb Wilson versus, are they going to throw Bryson Tiller on him? Are they going to throw Flory Badunga on him? Are they going to have Flory on Vasar? And, is UNC going to try and pull Flory away from protecting the rim and open up the paint for guys like Caleb and Trimble to get downhill and take Flory's shot blocking away from there? So I think there's a lot of really fun kind of individual and tactical matchups going on in this game too.
Yeah, a ton. It gets beyond just the two big names.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to like the specific matchups where like at Vasar, I'm trying to figure out who they're going to throw him on. I feel like Badunga might be a smart play, but then you're right. Then you go to the other side of the floor and it's like, well, who's the counter for the other side? It's going to be depth. It's going to be really important in this game, I feel like, because the two guys are going to probably get theirs. Caleb Wilson and Darren Peterson, but who else steps up? Trimble on Darren is a fascinating one. I'm with you. That could be like, hey,
but like who else?
I don't know who else you go because they got smaller guards, so you can't do that.
You're not going to throw Bogovats on them.
No.
that's not fair to him.
Dixon maybe, but that's putting too much of a plate on him right now.
I think
Trimble probably gets the start on him, with maybe Caleb's keeping an eye on him to try to see if he could get some shots on the perimeter. But it's going to be a fun matchup.
I would assume they try and throw length at him, and whether it's Caleb or Vasar getting pulled up in the pick and roll, I would assume they blitz it every time Peterson has it, and then play pretty aggressive drop whenever anyone else is trying to do anything out of the pick and roll. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, North Carolina has got to feel like, hey, if we slow down there and we have the firepower to stay with them, and if they're going to want them to make it a slugfest, North Carolina, because they're going to be like, if they play tough, physical, like we can play that style. I feel like I don't think they're going to be like, hey, let's get out and shoot a bunch of threes. I think North Carolina is just going to want to be like, no, let's play tough defense and then get good shots. Let's see what happens. So I think it's going to be a fascinating game. I mean, this is 19 versus 23 to start the year. This is what we dreamed of for college hoops. That's what I'm saying from the beginning. Like, usually had to wait like a month to get this matchup.
The other games that day, Georgetown versus Maryland, not a total barn burner, but Buzz Williams first year at Maryland, KJ Lewis transferring in from into Georgetown from Arizona last year. Georgetown has a whole bunch of new faces. Really curious to see how they all meld together. And then Darius Adams, sneaky name to keep an eye on at Maryland. I always love Pharrell Payne. He's going to rebound like a monster and be a beast down low. But I think Darius Adams and KJ Lewis are probably the top two names there. Then VCU, Utah State. This one's for the sickos who have the time for it. But Mason Falslove on Utah State. Really sneaky, intriguing sleeper that has some fans. And then Nick Lewis on VCU, incoming freshman point guard. Just your typical archetype of VCU point guard. Anything for you in those games?
No. I mean, Georgetown's just an island of misfit toys when it comes to a bunch of transfers, but they just had a nice eye-opening exhibition win against Kentucky that people were like, whoa. And it was like, hey, Georgetown's back. And I was like, here we go. Exhibition reactions. We all love to do it. They'll be interesting. They have a lot of hungry guys that need to make some noise in the draft community. I still like Malik Mack, KJ Lewis. Yeah. We'll see. So a lot of wait and see guys with that team, but we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, the weekend slate is loaded, so we're going to take one last quick break, and we'll be right back. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired. Or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rougiette comes in. Rougiette.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED, designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. Visit rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/LockedOnNBA. And don't forget to use our code LockedOnNBA so they know that we sent you. Rougiette, stop making excuses and start making moves. Saturday, we got a whole bunch of games. Clear schedules. Get your apple picking done early in the morning. You know, whatever you got to do, get it done early. Times I'm going off of our central, so adjust on your end as you need here. But to kick off things right away in the morning, Alabama versus St. John's, 11 a.m. Central. Whew. After that, some really fun and intriguing afternoon matchups in Memphis versus San Francisco at 2, Virginia Tech versus Providence at 3, and then the real heavy hitters, Arkansas versus Michigan State at 6 p.m. We'll be doing our first No Ceilings Night Shift over on the No Ceilings YouTube channel, and we'll be doing a watch along for that game for No Ceilings Plus subscribers. Make sure to go sign up for all that stuff, but come hang. We're gonna be breaking down the entire week and entire day of games over on the No Ceilings YouTube channel, and then Oklahoma versus Gonzaga at 9:30. It's gonna be a busy day. Take it whatever direction you want.
It's the best part of college basketball, folks. It's like the opening weekend of basketball being back, and you're like, hey, you have plans? What are you doing? So your plans are on the couch. Watch basketball all day. So Alabama St. John's, just like, hey, you haven't, the coffee hasn't kicked in yet. And we get Alabama St. John's from Madison Square Garden. Like, what, you dream of this stuff. So that one's going to be a juicy one. I mean, that's 15 versus 5. Bama's going to be foaming at the mouth to be like, oh yeah, like you put us at 15, and St. John and Rick Pitino are going to be a little pumped up to showcase that they're ready to roll. So that game is going to be awesome. And that's just like that's with your breakfast ball right there. And then all of a sudden we really have some fun the rest of the day. So I Metcalf, which one are you looking forward to the most?
That one's going to be a blast because both those teams are going to be looking to push the pace, to press, to create chaos. They're playing at noon Eastern. It's it's going to be a weird tip-off time for them. That game could be one that's like both teams are in the 90s. I think that could be a really, really fun game. But that Arkansas versus Michigan State it's going to rock.
That game's going to be so much fun. Yeah.
Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas have looked good in exhibitions, but they're exhibitions. How good are they going up against the Tom Izzo coach team with veteran guards? Has Cohen Carr made a leap? Has he added something to his game outside of just insane cutting and highlight dunks? Two of the best coaches in college basketball over the last 30 years going head to head. I don't see anyone immediately on Michigan State that I'm like, oh yeah, he's a draft guy. But I feel like we also enter every season saying that, and then someone emerges like a Jace Richardson or a Max Christie. So who's it going to be this year, if anyone? So I think that's going to be a really, really fun one in the evening slot.
Every year, Michigan State, it seems like it's the same story. We go preseason, we're like, they don't have a big time recruit, and this team might struggle. And all of a sudden, March comes around, and we're saying the same thing every year of like, well, Michigan State's upsetting everyone, and they keep winning, and they keep moving on in March Madness. So, what better test for Arkansas too? You have probably one of my favorite rosters Arkansas has had in the last couple of years in terms of just balance and the players and like the talent they have. I feel like they've got good depth. And what better test than, hey, right out of the gate, you're on the road at Michigan State with a really well-coached team. Hopefully, it'll be fascinating to see, what Arkansas can do, how those freshmen look. Malik Thomas, Darius Acuff, after you said, some of the vets, Billy Richmond, Carter Knox, really, really interesting Arkansas team that I think could make some noise this year. But you were tested right away. Michigan State, like good luck with the Spartans. So that's why, I think college basketball fans, draft fans for years have been just aching and being like, can we please get some fun games right out of the gate? And this year it's like, oh, we got them. They listen. This is a fun opening week of hoops.
And then just some of those other games, Memphis, San Francisco may not feel like a big one, but Memphis always has talent. And it's going to be a great opening test for Tyrone Riley IV from San Francisco to be like, all right, man, how real is it? We liked the flashes as a freshman. It was super low usage. There were some inconsistencies. You still have a lot of proof, but it was intriguing. We liked it. And the buzz with him all summer has been off the charts. Some of the numbers during their exhibitions have been meh, but this is an awesome opportunity for him to be like, no, buzz was real. I'm making that leap. And if he is, then he's going to be, a legitimate potential first round pick in the 2026 NBA draft. Virginia Tech versus Providence, Neo Avdalas. Providence isn't a monster program, but again, they're good. They have a lot of talent. They have a bunch of transfers coming in. Going to be a really good test for him as well. And then Oklahoma versus Gonzaga, just two well-coached teams with some really intriguing front court players. Darian Reed, Graham Ike. I don't think either of those teams have a surefire first rounder or even, surefire draft pick, but they got talent and they got a handful of guys who could really emerge.
A lot of this opening week is statement games, not just for teams, but for prospects. Darian Reed was a big-time recruit going to Alabama last year. Didn't have the year that you wanted. Now he's at Oklahoma. I think he's got a chance to make a loud statement against Gonzaga to start the year. That Providence game is going to be really fun too. Like that, I like that Providence team. It's just that's a team that's like, are you ready now, or is it going to take a little bit more time? But they're going to be feisty. They're going to be tough. So going to be a really great day of hoops. And there's just a lot of, as you mentioned, Tyrone Riley, we always say with scouting, like, we'll be patient, and see how you develop throughout the year. Like Tyrone Riley, though, if you can make noise right out of the gate and you're coming from somewhere like Tyrone Riley, hey, I'm at San Francisco. I stayed here. I entered the portal and decided to stay back because everyone wanted him.
Yeah.
But if you could make noise at your school, right, aggressively out of the gate, that'll get at scouts' attentions fast. You're already on their radar, but if all of a sudden you're just cooking to start the year, it's a loud endorsement. So I think that's a fascinating game to monitor, because if he can really be legit this year and be a big time prospect, got to show it out of the gate, I think.
And then to wrap things up for the week, Sunday, Indiana versus Marquette at noon, Washington versus Baylor, 7:30. Just two more awesome matchups. What gets you excited in either of those?
I mean, my boy Chase Ross, your boy Chase Ross, Corey
Everyone's
Tolabo's boy Chase Ross at Marquette with Indiana, and then Tucker DeVries at Indiana as well. Coming over from, was he at West Virginia before that? Drake can shoot the cover off. So I'm the most pumped for that Washington Baylor game. Yeah, I think that's the one. Metcalf. What about you?
Same. Washington, Baylor. Tunde Yesufu for Baylor. Cam Carr looked really solid in the preseason for Baylor as well. Hopefully, finally getting consistent minutes after struggling to get anything at Tennessee. And then Washington, a whole bunch of transfers. I think their team makes a lot more sense. What kind of leap from freshman to sophomore year has Zoom Diallo taken? Wesley Yates, same thing, transferring over from USC. And our boy Hans Steinbeck. How dominant can he really be against another Power 5 program? So I that one probably has sneakily some of the most talent out of any of these games outside of like Kansas UNC.
Yeah, that one's you just survived the whole week of college basketball. Here's the dessert. Like,
don't forget about it.
Don't forget about it, because that game is like, there's one more course. It's a fun one. And, Tunde could be a top 5 pick. We could be looking at Hans as as a lottery pick or a top 10 pick. If he has a great year, we never know. And then there is talent all over the place. There's guys that could be sleepers in this draft. There's guys that could rise into the first round. There's second round steals potentially. Like, there's a fun assortment of talent in that game. There's also guys that might not be one and dones, but are going to get, into the NBA soon. So it's a fun game. And Washington, I'm with you. The roster is much better this year. I like what they've done. Feels better. And they could surprise some people. So going to be a great game for sure.
And it's going to be a great year. We'll be back on Thursday, surely breaking down some of what we saw, but the rest of the team will be back Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday as well. And we got some fun projects and stuff planned out going forward, but make sure to head over NoCeilingsNBA.com, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be on doing a watch along with No Ceilings Plus subscribers Saturday night for that Arkansas Michigan State game, and then going live on YouTube right after for the night shift to recap the whole day. But until then, he is Tyler Rucker. You can follow him at Tyler_Rucker. I'm Tyler Metcalf. You can follow me at TMetcalf11. Thank you for listening to Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings.